Ladies and gentlemen, very, very big welcome. I just want to really just take this very small moment because I really would like to say thank you. I know it's been a lot of work that you guys have been doing throughout the session. I know we're now getting towards the end to be able to submit the final assessment. I just want to say I am very, very proud of you and I'm very thankful for all the hard work that you guys have been doing. I do encourage hard work. I do respect hard work. And I am hoping that I'm actually giving you the skills to be able to be well trained to not simply go and be able to be good in project management, but to be able to have these foundational skills that are needed to be able to go and have a very successful career in information technology. So I want you to continue working hard. I want you to always remember the importance of working hard, the dedication. It actually goes and pay off. So thank you from all my heart for all the work that you're doing, and please continue working hard. It is really, really important for you to be able to go and get the future. So thank you very much for that. No worries, Sanjeev. Thank you very much for sending that information to me. Good luck with everything, mate. All right, so today, guys, I'm going to be talking about two chapters. The first one is about managing project team, and the second one, and outsourcing. So these are two topics I want to go and talk about today. The first one is about, I want to talk about identifying the key characteristics of a high-performance project team. I'm going to talk about distinguishing the different stages of team development. I'm going to talk about understand the impact situational factors have on project team development. We're going to identify strategies for developing a high-performance project team. We're going to talk about understanding the challenges of managing all of these virtual project teams. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start this lecture today by playing a link. It is really about how do we actually go and build the project team. I'm going to start with that, and then I'm going to start talking about the whole topics relating to the development of all of this. So please pay attention. I'm going to start with that, and then we'll go from there.
Well, today we're talking about how to build a team and team build along the way, because it's not actually a one-time event. It's something we need to continually do throughout the project. So you may ask yourself, why would I need to take the time to build a team? After all, we have all this work to be done. Well, there are benefits to building a team, building a healthy team. With a healthy team, you will get more collaboration among the team members. They're actually talking and sharing, giving ideas, pushing back, and the team feeds off of that. With more collaboration, we get better communication. And with better communication, we get higher project success. The research commonly shows that the lack of communication is one of the leading reasons for failed projects. So we want to avoid that. So we want to build a healthy team. So how do we do that? Well, one of the main things we need to know as a project manager is hands-on, hands-off. And when to be hands-on, when to be hands-off. Hands-on, when you may have a new member on the team, maybe an experienced member on the team, someone who needs a little more guidance. So you let that individual know, hey, I'm here. If you need anything, I'm here. And you give them a little more direction on here's how we do things on this project, or here's how I need you to do things for me. And you may show them the steps, like step 1, 2, 3, 4. Hands off is for more experienced people, more senior people on your team, experts on your team. Let them know, hey, I know you've got this, and if you need anything, you just let me know. That will take you a long way to know the difference between these two. Number 2, just ease up a little bit and maybe less intense. There's some project managers that everything is life and death. And on a project, not everything is life and death. If you relax a bit, ease up, and be less intense, people can relax, have fun, and do more of these things. But there are times when we need to invoke an urgency. There are times where there are things that are critical that we need to really jump to get things done. We also need to make communicating, collaborating simple, fun, and easy. So some of the ways we're talking about being easy is like easy to follow a stream of actions. So different members of the team are working on different parts of the project and they interrelate with each other. So with the software, with the project management software tool, we can better do that because we can set up little collaboration or discussion groups where people can log in and they can access it and contribute that way. Also, easy to understand where you are in the project and next actions to take. Everyone on the project needs to keep up to date on that so they are abreast of what's happening. So for a reminder for your team members that you're trying to build a healthy team with, remember that people are people and people want to be acknowledged, they want to be seen, they want to be valued and cared for, they want to be validated and confirmed. If you treat people like people want to be treated, that goes a long way for people to being able want to contribute to the team. And also remember, people really do want to contribute. If they're on your project, they have skills, they have expertise. If you make it exciting, simple, fun, and easy, then they want to get involved. And then so find out how and where they contribute best and help them thrive. So if you need a project management software tool to help you build your team all along the way, then sign up for our software now at projectmanager.com.
All right, guys, so I'm gonna go and build on this video basically. So there's a few things that are for me key messages when it comes to this delivery of good teams that can actually go and deliver good projects. So a few things, one of them is really the importance of communicating, people really communicating well together. And not every communication is a good communication. It's about how do I actually go and communicate to you guys. You could have 10 people lecturing you and every person will be communicating with you in a different manner. One person might be boring, one person might be passionate, one person might not know what they're talking about. It's about how do we go and really create an environment where communication within a project environment is one that is going to be able to go and help us really to go and reach the right outcomes. We talk about another thing, which is not simply communication, but it's also about supporting the people that are in your team. Okay, it is not about saying to people like you can't make a mistake or this is an issue, this is a problem. People could make a mistake. People are encouraged to go and make a mistake. But what is really important for us to actually go and know about is how do we go and really collaborate with everybody? How do we go and ensure we are enabling people to go and get the right outcomes? If someone is unable, like nobody want to do a bad job. If someone is really unable to go and get the outcomes that we want them to go and deliver, we need to ask the question, why? What are they lacking? What support do they need? I need to go and give them the right support to be able to go and reach the right outcomes. We need to go and treat people well is another thing. People become motivated. I need to go and recognize all of those people, recognize their performance, recognize their hard work, encourage collaboration. All of these are really factors that needs to go and be present to be able to get the right outcome. So what I want you to know is you need to create a highly performing team through synergy. And synergy does not mean adding more people. You could be having 3 people that equal 2 people in terms of performance. But at the same time, you might be adding 3 people. And because they work so well together, they are basically performing as if you are having 10 people working hard to be able to go and drive the performance. So it's about really how do we get the right people together to be able to go and reach the right outcomes. And when I talk about people performing highly, they share the purpose. They share what we're trying to go and do. They look at everybody. They look, okay, this guy is very strong at this person is very strong at this. They try to go and actually benefit from everybody's expertise. They have balanced roles, not somebody doing everything, somebody doing very little. They have shared roles, people sharing what needs to go and be done. They maintain a problem-solving focus. It's okay, things could go wrong. And the question is, how do we actually go and work together to be able to ensure we are going to go and get those outcomes to go and be delivered? We maintain a problem-solving, as I said. We accept differences. People are allowed to be different than me. People are allowed to have different opinions. We go and collaborate together to be able to go and reach out outcomes. Encourage risk-taking. Encourage people to be creative. You know, some risk is good. No risk at all is probably going to be and not very good to go and do that. Set high personal performance standards where everybody knows they need to work very hard to be able to go and reach the right outcomes. Identify with the actual team. You know, when you're actually part of that team, collaborating with that team, being considered part of that team, you'll be able to go and really get a lot of outcomes being delivered. Now, when you go and form people, it's like I go and pick up 10 people from the organization, and I'll go and say, all right, we're going to now go and actually work together to try to get the right outcomes. Not when I'm going to go and form the group, it is not immediately that everybody starts actually working very, very well together. People don't know each other. People don't know how it is best to go and work together. So what happened really initially is you go and create a group. You go and form a group, okay? You go, you create an orientation, you get people together. And when you start getting that group together, when you start putting them into an orientation to know each other, they start really testing the environment, testing each other, speaking to each other, understanding the sort of dependence they're going to have on each other to be able to get the job done. What happened then, you have a second stage called storming. And in the storming is you start making an emotional response to the demands of the project. And that emotional response is like, I want to, you know, there's potentially like, I understand the requirements. I understand so much work that needs to be done. I understand that it should be done in this way. Someone else in the belief, no, it should be done another way. And you have all of these conflicts. So we're now feeling strongly against various things that are occurring with us, and we're trying to go and find the best resolution. Stage 3 is about norming, okay? We start open exchange of the relevant information. We start kind of talking together, collaborating more together. And from there, we develop a group cohesion. We start basically forming a cohesion to be able to go and work together to get the job done. Stage 4 is about performing. Performing is about let me get the solution to be implemented. Performing is about ensuring everybody has a role and everybody knows their role very well, and everybody is able to go and start implementing and getting that role to be delivered. Stage 5 is about adjoining. Adjoining where we work as a group. We finish working as a group. We got the job done. Now what's going to happen is I need to move to a brand new group. I'm going to go and dissolve my current group. That's going to be gone. And then after that, I'm going to go and have to go and build a new group in the future. So this is the sort of stages that basically research went and suggested people go through when people are actually joined together to go and work on a group. Now, there's other research that says, well, the way that performance works, initially, we have a good performance. Towards midpoint throughout the project, we start having that recognition that time is limited, time is running out. So what do? We go and make a transition and we start increasing our work higher. And what happened there? We have that kind of stable, hard work that is occurring to a specific period of time. And then just close to the deadline, because you, again, thinking about how close I am and how time is actually running out, we go and actually even increase your work even a bit further to be able to go and reach a completion. But your top performance usually comes towards the end of the project because you're working very hard to be able to go and ensure you get the job done within those very, very specific timelines. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there are a number of conditions to bear in mind that could help us to go and get a high performance project teams. Now, one of them is 10 or fewer team members. Now, some people think that more is better, but in reality, more is not better at all. More is not necessarily better. More basically means that we are actually having to go and engage into much more communication, much more conflict, much more way of trying to resolve issues. So the more creates much more need to go and create, if you want, engagement, communication, coordination. That's not very beneficial for a project environment. it is best to get voluntary membership. Don't push people to join. Just say, who wants to be as part of my team? Get them to want to be, not push to be. Best is to actually have continuous service on the team. So if the project is going to go and be for 6 months, they're going to continuously be working throughout that period and working full time, not working on more than one project together. Another thing that is important for good teams is organizational culture, which basically supports cooperation and tries to go nurture trust within the actual organization. That's what we try to go and really deliver. We talk about members report only to the project manager. We talk about all relevant functional areas are represented on the team. So if you need, I don't know, business, marketing, HR, whatever, we try to represent them on the team. The project has a compelling objective we're trying to go and deliver, and people are not located in very wide distances. They are located within a speaking distance to each other. These are all conditions that will help you to go and actually build a performance of a team that is actually going to be very, very positive and very good. Now, a number of things to actually, you know, it's, if you want, this is like a portfolio, or this is a framework to be able to go and build a high performance project team. What do we do? Well, first we need to recruit the team members. Then we need to engage with a number of aspects, such as conducting project meetings, establishing team identity, create a vision, build a reward system, you know, manage decision-making, manage conflict, and we talk about rejuvenating the actual project team. And from there, what happens, we will be able to go and build a superior performance in that particular environment. So how do we go and do all of these together? Let's talk about every one of these aspects in that framework to be able to go and reach a superior performance. The first one is we need to recruit team members. Now, the factors that affect the recruitment is the importance of the project. If the project is very important, you would usually have the ability to recruit whoever you would like and whoever you believe is going to actually go and get the benefit for us within the organization. Management structure used to complete the project, again, affect the actual recruitment of the project teams. If you go, for example, and think about a fully projectized environment and structure, if people basically are working basically as project teams, then what's going to happen is, because it's a very focused project team environment, anybody would be able to go and choose the team members, because it's usually very, very important for the success, and they basically give the freedom to go and recruit whoever would like to go and recruit to be able to go and get the job done. But if we're talking about a functional department, if the people who are working on a project are also working in various functions, these people are usually, what's the word? They are usually not very, the project managers especially are not very able to go and choose whoever they would like to go and have to be able to go and do the project. They can't actually choose anybody. It's usually more decided a lot of time by the actual function manager, who decides who can be part of that team and who cannot be part of that team. It is best to recruit people who volunteer, because if they are volunteering, when they have an interest in that project, and they would do everything in their power to be able to go and get the job done. And we need to recruit people who are having the right skills. People who are available, first of all, to do the job. People who can solve problems. People who have the actual technological expertise. People who are actually having the credibility that is needed. If they say they're doing something, they will. People have the political connection, because a lot of times you might need the support of senior people within the organization to be able to ensure the job gets done. People who are ambitious, people who have initiatives, people who are energetic. These are the sort of people you would like to go and try to make members within your organization and within your team. I just want to say welcome to those people who just joined in the last 10 minutes or so. I know a couple of people joined. Thank you very much for coming, guys. Keep up the hard work. Thank you very much. So we need to go, and another thing that will help me to go and get the superior performance is I need to have all of these meetings. In the meetings, we need to have the rules. What are the rules we're going to follow? For example, one of the rules could be is you don't actually come late. One of the rules could be you need to be standing while we are actually talking. We need to plan all of these decisions we need to go and make. What are we going to decide? What are we going to make a decision about? You need to track the decision, making sure it's being actually implemented. You need to manage change decisions, because when this decision is going to go and implement and result in changes in the way we operate, for example, it is very, very important to actually have a way to think, well, how are we going to go and implement the change? What is the actual process? You need to talk about relationship decisions. Do we need to build relationship with certain people? Do we need to go and simply send emails, keep them informed? What do we need to do in terms of building relationships? And finally, we need to manage subsequent meetings. The subsequent meetings is always going to be, various meetings that are basically follow up from each other. For example, if you are managing and collecting business requirements, you might be collecting one part of the requirements first, and second meeting to collect more requirement, and the third requirement. It's about how do we go and create all of this engagement across various periods of time. We need to establish a team identity. So effective use of meetings so that people would feel belonging and being part of that identity. For example, we could say we are team innovation, okay? And you use these meetings that you have to actually make sure everybody is really aligning with that view that we are team innovation. Everybody's doing everything in their power to actually ensure that that tag is actually well supported in terms of the work they go and actually do. Co-location of team members, put them next to each other. Creating of the project team name and people know exactly what they're associated with. Creating team rituals. For example, one of the rituals that could be used, people could go and actually create a tie. And that tie could have a number of stripes. And these stripes could be equaling how many project deliverables we are going to be delivering. And whenever they go and deliver deliverables, they basically cut one of these actual strings in that tie as a signal that we've actually able to go and achieve success. That's one way that some people go and actually use to be able to create that positive environment and that positive communication. To get a good performance, we need to have a good vision. Vision that is strategically important. Vision that will inspire people we work with. Vision that will make people passionate to be part with. Vision that is basically well communicated to go on people. If I go and talk, for example, now about the coronavirus, strategically, a lot of people want to go and deliver that because it's going to mean, things will return back to normal in practice. So you might have a lot of scientists very, very inspired and passionate to be able to go and ensure that they're going to go and get the vision to be implemented and delivered appropriately. But you also at the same time have the need to communicate. If you don't communicate that vision to everybody out there who needs to know about it, what's going to happen is we won't be able to really reach the right outcomes. So we need to go and ensure that there's that vision being communicated to people out there, because through that communication, we are able to ensure, like, if you're going to go and communicate it to people in Australia and convince them why it's important, why we should do it, you're going to get more people, for example, getting the coronavirus vaccine. But you need to make that convincing statement so that people would want to go and do what you actually ask them to go and do at any particular point of time. You need to reward team members. And when I say reward them, you need to think about creating a balance between rewarding individual team members who are working very well and rewarding basically those who basically are part of the whole team. Okay, so individual and non-individual performance. You need to basically make the reward be lasting. And when I talk about lasting rewards, it does not necessarily mean let me give them more money. I'll tell you, money as a motivator don't last for very long, last for a very, very short period of time. So you need to create a lasting motivation, lasting reward that people are happy to go and actually associate with. We need to go and recognize people individually. For example, you create letters of commendation. For example, you create public recognition for outstanding work. For example, you create a job that people want to do, they like to do. For example, you go and give them more flexibility. Let's say they want to work from home one day of the week. they give them the ability to go and work from home at any particular point of time. Now, the key to know how to reward people is to actually understand people and understand what they want. And you need to know that not everybody actually wants the same thing. People want various things to be delivered at various points of time. So it's about really understanding that to be able to go and get the right outcomes. Okay. As I say, we need to have a very good approach to decision making. You know, how do we make it? Well, first of all, we need to know what the problem is. And for every problem, it is best to go and identify all of these alternatives that are available. It is not usually the first decision that is the best decision. So if you have time, especially, because a lot of time you don't have time, so people sometimes rush into choosing the first decision. If you have time that is actually available, you need to take the time to go and evaluate alternatives. And from there, you can basically decide which one of these alternatives is really generating for me the maximum value. And from there, we reach a decision we would like to go and deliver. And after we reach a decision, we basically follow up to make sure that decision is being implemented and is delivering the value we would like to go and get it delivered. We need to manage conflict. That's another thing that we need to do to be able to get a good performance. Now, a lot of people think, no, we shouldn't have any conflict in the project. You know, conflict means it's not good. No, conflict is good. But it depends how we do conflict. Can anybody tell me what is a good conflict? How can we do good conflict within the organization?
Sharing ideas.
Yeah, sharing ideas. So I could share idea with you without screaming about you. Yeah, without screaming and fighting. You know, dysfunctional conflict is where we start fighting. No, it's my idea. No, it's your idea. No, I'm better than you. No, this is wrong. You start basically fighting with one another. You don't actually go and start reaching the right outcomes you would like to go and actually get. So it's really about ensuring you know exactly what we're trying to go and talk about and how we need to go and get the outcome. So have a respectable conflict. Ask the tough questions. Allow people to share their point of view. For people who are devil's advocates, who might come up with an idea that is unthinkable and tell everybody, what do you think about this? Ask them, the team, to consider all the unthinkable alternatives if they basically will believe that is going to go and generate value. We manage all of these dysfunctional conflict. Dysfunctional is where it is going and it is impacting negatively on our project. So what do? We try to mediate the conflicts. For example, if there's a conflict between two people, I might be acting as a mediator trying to get a proper resolution by involving both of those people. I might create an arbitration of the conflict. Arbitration is I decide on behalf of these people. I make the decision. Another way is to control the conflict. If, you know, let's say we are not reaching the right outcomes, I might go and say, you know what, this is not acceptable like this. You said that, and you know, I want you to know that this is about the project, not about your individual conflicts. So you better get these things together and sort it out. Otherwise, we're going to have a problem down the track. So you try to control it. You might accept the conflict. That's fine. We're going to always have conflict. And you say, that's fine. Let's just go and accept that conflict and not worry much about it. And finally, we can go and eliminate the conflict. Elimination is about, let's say you have conflict between two people. They keep on fighting. They don't get the job done. So what do? You say, okay, you're making a lot of trouble here. I don't like your trouble. You're out of your team. So you basically go and eliminate the conflict altogether from your specific environment. You can see from this graph what it's saying. It's saying that some conflict is good, but you know, non-managed conflict is not good. If you have complacent, you don't manage, you don't actually deal with those issues, it becomes low performance. If you have intense fighting with each other, it does affect performance. The best conflict is where there's a managed conflict. If there's an issue, we are managing that issue together to be able to go and ensure we are reaching a resolution that is going to drive the benefit we would like to go and deliver. Now, don't think that conflict in every stage of the life cycle is going to be the same. At various stages, conflict will start increasing or decreasing. For example, at the beginning of the project, we have so much conflict relating to the procedures we want to go and get things done. But as the project basically proceed with planning, again, we have a lot of conflict. But as we start implementing, you notice how your procedures starts becoming more stabilized while you're executing, while you're delivering. So the conflict relating to procedures start actually getting low. If you go and think about schedules, scheduled conflict is very, very high, but it becomes especially very high when I'm executing my project at that particular point of time. You have, others. You have, let's say, workforce conflict. Initially, conflict, as we start delivering more work, again, the conflict. And at the end, basically, people are very much used to working together. So the conflict between them will start getting basically reduced in comparison to when you actually first started that project. You need to ensure people are always fresh. You need to always renew them. How do you renew all of their motivation? One way is to institute what is known as new rituals. For example, one ritual might be every time we go and deliver a module, we go and, cut a piece of the tile, or we go and make a small party. Great. You might change your ritual. The ritual might be every time we're going to get an outcome, we're going to go and do a team building activity. And that team building activity is, let's say, something that you guys are going to be deciding. The ritual might be we're going to go and create a presentation in the team. In that presentation, we're going to go and recognize everybody. The ritual might be we're going to go and get you trained on a new skill because you've managed to deliver a specific outcome in a good manner. So you try to create new ways for you to go and celebrate, to go and get the job done. Another informal technique to be able to ensure that you're going to have a high-performing team is you take him off-site. You give him a break from the project. I remember when I was working for Career One, we went and we delivered a project that was very, very important for the success of the business. So what they've done is they created a team building activity. That team building activity, they basically brought everybody from the business from across Australia. They brought everybody in together. And then what they've done, from every team, they went and actually chose people to go and be part of a small group. And people in those groups were basically asked to go and work on solving a challenge. Everybody had the same challenge to go and solve. It was the Amazing Race, but it was Career One Amazing Race. And then finally we went and we got to what used to be known as AMF bowling. It's, I think, called zone bowling now in Circular Quay, where we went and we played, I don't remember what did we play. I think actually we played bowling, not laser. And then after that, we went down and we finished the day with a great lunch underneath. That was really a great day. They took us actually offside and we felt really comfortable. It basically helped very much to go and develop a very, very positive team environment, which we really, really enjoyed at that time. Another informal technique is go and actually play for them an inspirational movie, or an inspirational message. I always tell my students, I want you to come to the last week of my lecture. And the reason why I tell them I want you to come to the last week of my lecture is because during the last week of the lecture, what I do is I go and play you a very important message. That message is about your future. That message is about your inspiration. That message is about you believing in yourself. And that's about the inspiration you need to go and deliver inside your team to all of these members that go and work alongside you. Have the project sponsor give a pep talk. And when I talk about pep talk, pep talk's like, you guys could do it. It's like encouraging people, making them know that, they are able, they are worthy. they can actually go and ensure they go and get the job done. Formally, what can we do? Hold a team building session. Get someone from outside your business who is an expert in team building and get them to go and actually try to work on delivering that particular session. Engage in an outside activity that provides an intense common experience to promote social development. Guys, this is really, if you want, this is, it could be a formal technique, but taking off site is also, I believe, in my opinion, is also a formal technique. But I think the difference that they're basically trying to go and do is maybe more on the side. If it's you're taking them off site, I could potentially take you for a restaurant, take you for a pub, do something informal if you want as a group, not something more formal as a team building. So if it's going to be more formal, I think it's going to start a lot of time to go and be involving people from outside the business, trying to go and actually develop and learn more about what you guys are doing within the actual organization to be able to go and get the job done. A lot of time you're going to be working with people who are located in, different locations. It's like when I used to be in Korea 1, I used to be engaging in delivering projects with people in Melbourne and people in the United States. When I was with Toys R Us, I used to be engaging with people about projects, and they used to be in a lot of countries, such as in India and the United States. So when you're working with all of those people internationally, you want to go and try to manage a lot of the challenges. You have to make sure, for example, that people trust one another. You exchange your social information for people to be able to go and talk to each other and develop that trust. You set clear rules. Everybody knows exactly what they need to go and actually go and do. You create good patterns of communication. Team members keep informed of how the overall project is going. That could be through an intranet session, that could be through a report, that could be through an email. I don't know what it is. You go and create a pattern that basically talks about engaging and delivering that standard communication and feedback about how things are actually going and progressing. Do not let team members vanish. People are working all around the world. Don't let them vanish. Don't let them go and you don't see them for a week and then suddenly they come after for a meeting, and then keep on having that constant communication with all of those people. Establish a code of conduct to avoid delays. So for example, the code of conduct could say, well, we expect you to go and deal with any request for information we send you. We expect you to deal with it within, let's say, 1 business day. You could create a protocol that says if the problem is not resolved within 1 particular day, then what's going to happen is we are going to be escalating that issue to be able to go and get it solved. So it could be we're going to go and escalate it to a manager, or you're going to be escalating that to the manager from your side. We can establish norms and protocols for surfacing assumptions and conflict. There will be conflict. There will be ways of working. If we have all of these assumptions, if we have all of these conflicts, how do we go and deal with them? What do we do to get them solved? It's about working together to be able to go and get the job done from that perspective. Another thing I would say, you need to share the pain. For example, if I am now in Australia, and the time in Australia at the moment is 3:47 p.m. If I go and try to think about a place like, Halifax in Canada, the time there at the moment is 12:47 a.m. So if you want to go and ask someone in Halifax to go and come and join a team now at, let's say, 4 o'clock Australian time, that's 1 a.m. in Halifax, or if you're going to go and ask someone who is currently in Pakistan, where, it might, let's say if you want to make a meeting 8 in the morning, but 8 in the morning means for them is like 4 o'clock in the morning. You can't really just do that without being really flexible. So if you're going to go and do something like this, you're going to go and say, well, you know what? You know, I'm going to go and do it with a view that I'm going to go and share the pain. So one day they're going to come and attend a meeting where it's going to be 1 a.m. from their end. But the next time, instead of them having to come to a 1 a.m. meeting with me here, next time we do the meeting, it could mean that it has to be, let's say, late in Australia. So we might, let's say, make the meeting at 12 o'clock at night, Australian time. So that's what we call sharing the pain. And what you do, basically, you create this 24 hours clock. For example, if you're in the UK, and you're in Australia, and you're in Scotland, all of these people working together, you have the prime time for each section. So this is a prime time in white in the United States, prime white in Australia, okay, and prime white in Scotland. But there's also times where it's usually a downtime. So for example, you know that in the UK, 12 to 5 is a downtime. You know, in Australia, there are some times that are downtime. You know that, you know, in Scotland, sometimes are a downtime. So when you want to go and create the meetings, you need to try to go and try to find a way where everybody is available. For example, you can see that between 6 and 8 a.m. here, that time is available for everybody. Between 4 and 5 p.m., this time seems to be possible and suitable for everybody. So that's something to really go and bear in mind in terms of how we're going to go and create that engagement we're trying to go and create. You want to get the right performance. You need to try to ensure you're going to manage all of these weaknesses within the project. One of the weaknesses is a bureaucratic bypass syndrome. For example, let's say there are processes that people need to go and follow. Everybody follow those reports. Everybody follow those processes. But what you choose to do as a group, because you believe you guys are great, you're going to go and bypass this structure to be able to go and really reach that benefit that you want. So you basically want to deliver that project, but you want to go and bypass any sort of processes to be able to go and get the task done appropriately. Team spirit becomes team infatuation. You start thinking about, you start thinking more about your team only. You no longer think about the other people within the group, other department, other needs. You start simply thinking about you. And that basically create all of these resentments by other people, other members within the organization who do not like that you think you are more important than everybody else. And because of that, you do want to engage with everybody else to get the job done. Going native is another weakness. Doing the project is about trying to really deliver what the client really wants. But one thing to go and bear in mind is you need to make sure you're doing things within a particular limit. I cannot be doing things if I am actually not thinking about the benefit for the project. If someone is coming and asking for something, and I know that something is going to cost me, let's say, $100,000, I'm not going to simply go and say yes so that I can go and drive the benefit that the client is actually asking for. I want to make sure there's a clear process. I want to make sure that we're going to go and deliver exactly what, following the process, ensuring that if people want something, if the client wants something, we are really speaking to them. We are actually ensuring they are following the right process, following the right channels. We're not going to go and make shortcuts to deliver what they want on the expense of the success of the project, which is basically measured within delivery, within time, within cost, and within specifications. You need to be very careful about groupthink. Groupthink is where you've delivered things well, you know you're very strong, you know you're very good. So you basically start thinking that you are someone who is irreplaceable. You are someone very knowledgeable. And because you think like that, you basically start taking shortcuts. You no longer check things well. You no longer implement things well. You no longer go and actually what's the word? Make the right risk analysis when you're trying to go and make any particular judgment. So it's, again, something to really bear in mind, because this is, again, a topic that could really go and lead you to be able to go and not get the outcomes you would like to go and deliver. This brings me to the end of the first subject, or the first chapter. So now we're going to talk about, you know, the outsourcing and managing inter-organizational relationship. A lot of the time, the work that basically gets done within the organization gets done by external people, not by people within our business, who basically go and pay someone. Like, I remember in my IT projects, a lot of time we used to pay an external company to be able to go and come do the work. Like when I talk about NCR, for David Jones, when I talk about you know, Adissio, when I talk about DMI, these are basically companies across various areas around the world who basically we used to go and pay them money to be able to ensure that we are getting job to go and be delivered. So it's a topic that is very much relevant. It's probably more relevant in some industries than in others. For example, construction industry is fully you know, based on contracts, but you know, and outsourcing. But we'll talk about that with more details now when we're talking about it. So we're going to talk about outsourcing, managing the inter-organizational relationship. We're going to understand the advantages and disadvantages of outsourcing project work. We're going to go and discuss particular work relating to you know, the request for proposals. We're going to identify best practices for outsourcing project work. We're going to talk about the practice principles negotiation. We're going to talk about the met expectations model of customer satisfaction and its implications for working with customer on projects. We're going to describe the you know, the procurement management process. We're going to go and describe the differences between fixed price project, cost plus projects, and their advantages, as well as all of their disadvantages. So we'll talk about all of these with more details now. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of time when you're trying to go and actually outsource, you need to try to decide, well, am I just simply outsourcing to go and give the job to someone else and I don't want to worry about the work that they're doing? Or am I going to go and actually try to create what is known more as a partnership? Partnership is where I go and create, there's still a contract, there's still an agreement, but we'll try to create a bit more cohesion, a bit more collaboration. We basically try to create something more than you are your company and I am, you know, another company, and we each will go and do the outcome. No, we're going to try to create an environment where we are going to be working together as a group to be able to go and reach the right outcomes. It assumes that the traditional adversarial relationship between the owner and contractor is ineffective and self-defeating. It says we need to go and ensure we're going to work, you know, although we are separate companies, we're going to try to have the partnership. We're going to have to create common goals. We're going to go and create a benefit that everybody is going to go and benefit. We're going to go and create a shared project teams to be able to go and work together and to be able to ensure we are going to be getting the right outcome. So it's about really creating that further feeling that we are not working independently. We are actually, we might seem as we are working independently, but we are more as partners. We are more partners than what you actually think we are partners. And we should basically work together to be able to reach the right goals. There are many factors that favor us creating all of these partnerships. You know, first of all, the existing of a common goal. Second thing is a high cost of the adversarial approach. The adversarial approach is you by your side, me by my side. It does not actually result in generating the best performance because people are not really motivated to go and do their best to be able to go and get the job done. Another factor that favoring partnership is the shared benefits of the collaborative approach. People start saying, okay, well, they care about me. They want me to actually go and benefit as much as they want themselves to go and benefit. So we're going to go and actually enjoy and create that partnership where we're both going to basically be thinking about each other as we are part of the same team. If you go and think about this very, very small project, I want to go and build a recliner chair. This recliner chair will need tools, will need parts, will need a manufacturer, we'll need a project manager, we'll need a catalog, we need an inventor, we need a legal firm, we need an advertising firm, we need a marketing firm. So we need all of these various engagements to be able to ensure we are going to go and deliver the outcomes we would like to go and be delivering. You're not going to go and employ a legal firm. You're not going to go and employ lawyers and employ advertisement companies and employ marketing companies. You're not going to go and be doing everything yourself. You're not going to go and say, well, we're going to go and need to ensure someone else is doing the job for us. Instead, what you are going to be doing is you are going to go and create an approach where we're going to be basically considering each other to be part of the same team, working in collaboration to be able to go and ensure we are going to reach the right outcomes. So it's about really creating that collaborative environment where we are going to be working together to really be able to go and reach the goals we would like to go and really reach. If we go and think about outsourcing, outsourcing was where I go and actually give the work that I need to do. I actually go and give that work to someone else to go and do. And when I go and think about all of these outsourcing, there are obviously many benefits associated with outsourcing. I reduce my costs, definitely. I can complete things much more quicker than I would actually normally go and do. I can go and have a lot of expertise to be able to go and get the job done. I could be having flexibility. If I say I want to go and have more employees to go and work for my organization at any particular point of time, I am able to go and request to actually have all of those extra resources, and I would potentially be able to go and get those resources without having any problem with that particular approach. But at the same time, there are disadvantages. Because you are giving a lot of the work to an external company, there's a lot of coordination breakdown. Things start actually not working in a good engagement. We start losing control of the various things we're trying to go and deliver. We try to have a lot of conflict because, especially when we don't feel to be part of the same team, we have all of these disagreements, we have a conflict, we don't agree with them, they don't agree with us. So we basically have all of these conflict. And we need to try to find a way to solve those problems. We start having all of these security issues. For example, we might be sharing with them our data, and they could potentially go and share that data with someone else externally that is going to go and actually have a negative impact on me. Because if someone else, if my competitor goes and accesses that data, for example, it's going to be something that is a really serious problem for me as an organization. So when I talk about creating these outsourcing, there are best practices. Let's make sure we give them very clear requirements. Let's make sure we give them very clear procedures. Let's make sure we give them a lot of training to actually they know and understand what they need to do for me. Let's go and create all of these team building activities so that they no longer feel to be part of a team and I'm part of another team. They basically start feeling we are actually now part of the same team. Let's create good processes for conflict management within the organization. Let's go and create a frequent review and status update so that everybody remains informed of what's happening. Let's go and put people in the same location whenever that's something that is possible for us to be able to go and achieve. Let's go and actually provide contracts that are fair. And basically we give them all of these incentives to ensure that they are going to work hard to go and get the job done. So fair and incentive-laden contracts. Let's go and create relationships that are not short-term. Rather, how could we go and work together and create a long-term relationship where we are going to be benefiting and at the same time they are going to be benefiting as an organization. Now, when we talk about the traditional project management and when we talk about the actual partnership, what is different about them? You know, when I'm talking about partnership, I trust them and they trust me. We have that really good working relationship that we go and actually go and deliver together. When I talk about traditional, there's all of these suspicion, all of these distrust, you know, we don't trust one another. We don't believe in one another. We believe, you know, there's a bit of an issue. So when I talk about partnership, the goals are shared, the objectives are shared, the direction is shared. When I talk about traditional, we don't have the really shared. Like I want to achieve, let's say, more income and you want to reduce your cost. So we're actually having really contradictory outcomes and objectives a lot of the times. We create a joint team project when I talk about partnership. When I talk about traditional, you have your team and I have my team. They work independently and they're not even in the same place. When I talk about partnership, we talk about open communication. If someone needs to speak to someone else within the other organization, so be it. Don't delay it. Don't do anything. Let's go and let's get the job done very, very quickly. In contrast, when you're talking about traditional, there's like a lines of communication. There's structure, there's guarded. You can't speak to this person. You need to actually make sure you're going to speak and tell the manager, and the manager will decide what needs to be done. So it's that structured sort of communication that needs to go and actually happen. In terms of commitment, partnership is more about a long-term commitment. Provide the opportunity to attain continuous improvement. But when I talk about traditional, it's a lot of time based on short-term commitment. I give you that one project, you go and work on that project, I work on this project, and that's it. That's usually all what we go and work on at any particular point of time. If we go and talk about other stuff, objective critique is geared to candid assessment of performance. Now, I'm just really analyzing performance in an objective manner, not because I want to go and kill you or get you out or anything. No, it's just more because we want to make sure there's a good performance analysis so that we know how we are performing, and from there to be able to go and know how we need to go and perform into the future. In terms of the traditional practices, objectivity is limited. Why? Because there's a fear of the reprisal and lack of continuous improvement opportunity. We're not sure that people are actually going to be doing the right thing. We assess we have access to each other's organizational resources. That's when there's partnership. When there's no partnership, we have my resources, you have your resources, and everybody have to go and basically use their own. So we have a structured access, there are procedures to follow, and so on. Partnership is more about ensuring we're going to have total company involvement. It requires the CEO to be committed, and if the CEO is committed, then all the members are automatically going to start showing a commitment to what we're trying to go and deliver. In terms of the traditional environment, involvement is normally limited to project level personnel. These are all the people who work together, not we make it more open, CEO team members and so on. Partnership is more about integration of my administrative systems. Why am I going to have different system? Why do I have to pay for a system and this contractor going to pay for another system and we're duplicating? But in traditional, we don't care. We're going to have all of this duplication. They have theirs, I have mine. That's basically how we're going to go and operate. Finally, in terms of risks in a partnership are shared. If mistakes happen, they happen. It's about let's go and find ways to be improving, and let's go and get those improvements to go and be delivered. But if I go and talk about risk in a traditional environment, risk is transferred to the other party. So when I go and tell you the risk, I give you the risk, it is no longer my risk. It is something for you to now go and worry about rather than me having to go and ensure we manage it as a group together. Now, a lot of time we're going to go and have a lot of the companies we need to deal with. How do we actually communicate with them? Well, the first thing to do is you need to recognize that your culture as a company and their culture, they're not the same. So that's the first thing you need to do. Understanding how the cultures are different, understanding what are those differences. And then from there, you go to strategy number 2. And strategy number 2 is more about let's choose the words correctly. Let's choose the right words. The right word is more about understanding what we need to go and say. Understanding if we need to say something that is going not to be offensive to the other party who we are trying to go and actually serve. Strategy 3, let's confirm our requirements. And strategy 4, let's go and set the deadline. Because if you don't set the deadline, people don't recognize the importance of ensuring things get done within a specific point of time. So you're going to go and ensure you follow all of these clear steps to communicate with them to ensure they understand what they need to do and by when they need to go and get the job done. So guys, a lot of time when you're trying to create that partnership, you create what is known as a project partnering charter. In that charter, you clearly kind of indicate what we're trying to go and do. We try to indicate, what sort of things in terms of quality, what sort of things in terms of performance, and so on. You basically try to create the rules of what we're trying to do and how we need to go and try to do that particular outcomes. And you create a partnership charter, and that partnership charter is one where people are able to go and read, and then from that reading, they'll be able to go and sign. And that signing is basically to say, I am actually committing myself to that partnership relationship to ensuring things are going to be delivered in the appropriate manner for everybody's benefit. Now, to actually get the partnership to work well, you need to try to consider a number of aspects. One, when you want to go and select a partner, try to create voluntarily partnership. People who are interested in actually being a partner in your organization. Try to create experienced people who know what they're doing. That's based on all of this experience. Try to create people who are willing to do the work that is required as part of partnership. Try to ensure there's a commitment from top management. Because if top management is not committed to that relationship, what this is going to mean is that the people who you would usually need to go and work with and potentially your partners are not going to actually be committed for that relationship equally. So try to make sure you are creating all of these things, thinking about them when you're trying to select a partner. Build the team together, team building. The project managers, ensuring they can actually collaborate together, build a relationship so that they can actually learn how to work well together. Doesn't matter if they are from a different company, when you try to go and build those relationships, they basically start feeling more and more like they are part of the same team. Try to build a team, try to create team building in terms of the stakeholders. What is that? Well, expand the partnership commitment to include other key managers, other specialists, not simply the project managers. So other stakeholders who will be affected by the group, who will be working in that team, who will be equally contributing towards the delivery of that success of that partnership, get them to go and be part of that partnership, and basically try to ensure they're going to go and help to go and get the right outcome. You need to create an environment where the relationship and the collaboration is going to be sustained. So you need to establish a we as opposed to an us and them attitude. It is a we. We need to work together as a group, not as one. Try to collocate people, make people from various organizations. Can I go and create a period where they are going to be working together next to each other to be able to go and reach the right outcomes? Establish a mechanism that will ensure that when problems occur, and it's not whether problems will occur, problems will always occur. Try to create a process for you to go and actually deal with all of those problems and all of these various setbacks. So what you do is you need to create this problem resolution. If there's a problem, how are we going to actually solve it? What is the approach we're going to go and actually implement to try to go and solve our problems? Try to create a continuous improvement focus where if things do go wrong, that's fine. We expected things to go wrong. But the answer is not why we expected things to go wrong. The answer is just more, how could we go and ensure we're going to go and work through all of these problems by having a focus on continuous improvements, which is the key we're trying to go and deliver. Create a joint evaluation. If let's say you want to evaluate performance, don't just take one side of the story. you can go and evaluate your performance, but why don't you evaluate it together? Why don't you ask them, what do you think? How do you think you've performed nowadays? Do you think we're supported? Do you think we've done the right thing? You go and try to create that environment where you are together in that evaluation, able to make the decision whether you guys have performed in the appropriate manner. Create a persistent leadership. When I talk about persistent leadership, leadership is always about, if things don't go right, it's persistent. We try to keep on driving people in the right direction. It's consistent trying to give people the right direction, the right skills, the right knowledge, the right support. So make sure there's all of this persistent leadership to support all of these people to be able to go and get the job to be implemented. When you want to go and celebrate success, remember that you're not celebrating by yourself. There's no we against them. There's actually us as a group who should be really working together. If we worked with a partner to be able to go and reach a particular outcome, the reason why we were able to reach that outcome is because we worked well together to be able to go and reach it. It's because we as a group worked well together to be able to go and get that outcome. It's not because one person did, it's because we worked together. So what you need to know really is about when you want to go and celebrate, same as you work together to get the job done, you also need to work together to be able to go and celebrate. So conduct a giant review. If you achieve things, you review it together. If you're disappointed and you didn't get the outcome, you review it together. It's all about working well together to reach that outcome. Hold a celebration for all participants, not simply people who are working in your business. If you really believe they are part of your company, if you really believe they are partners, then why are you celebrating and forgetting to actually celebrate with everybody else? Why aren't you actually involving the other people in that celebration to ensure you go and get the benefit that needs to go and be achieved? If there are people who go and do special contributions that further support that partnership and further support its ability to go and get good outcomes for both companies, recognize those people and make them see that you value them and you value the hard work that they go and actually deliver. So when I talk about the evaluation, you might, for example, create evaluation like this one. Communication between the owner and the contractor personnel are difficult or easy. Top management support partnership, not evident or obvious. Problem, issues, or concern, ignored or are they attacked? Cool, detached, unresponsive, or are they cooperating well together, genuine and unreserved and complete? Responses to problem issues, are they personal issues? Are they treated as a project problems? So you need to try, this is only a sample, you need to try to create some sort of evaluation of how the partnership is really going, so that people would know what they need to do, what improvement they need to go and deliver at any particular point of time. Now, a lot of time partnerships do fail. They do not deliver the outcomes that we want them to go and be delivering. And the question that we need to go and ask ourselves is, why do all of these partnerships fail? Well, they fail when you have senior management that find problems but do not actually help the team to solve them. So you basically have a lot of problems sitting there unsolved, which basically don't generate the solutions you would like to go and really get. Cultural differences are not adequately dealt with, such as that a common team culture goes and actually develops. So people basically having the various ways, the various ideas, various cultures, and they don't basically agree with each other to go and get the job done. No formal evaluation processes is in place to identify problems and opportunities at the operating level or to assess the current state of the partnership relationship. We're not evaluating. We don't know whether things are well, we're not identifying issues, we're not really worrying about issues and dealing with them the way we should go and deal with them. A lack of incentive. Why would a contractor goes and make all the investment and all the improvement that I would like him to go and actually get, if I am going to be getting rid of that company in the first opportunity that I actually have available? That is not the best approach for us to go and get the job done. Now, what happens when you go and create that long-term partnership? What happens when you and them becomes partners, become working together? It's no longer them against us. We create that real partnership that is available. Well, what's going to happen? You're going to reduce all of your administrative costs. Why? Because instead of going through the whole process of trying to identify various contractors, identifying the benefit, and saying whether you can actually go and work together, what you're doing is you are actually, you don't have to go through that process again. You already know who you're going to go and work with. And by working with them, you don't need to go and get a new administration, new way of people working together, new processes. That's the same team. So any administrative costs will be totally reduced altogether. Your resources will be more efficiently utilized because of that learning that will get delivered. That learning in terms you as a company learn how you can best deal with that supplier, and that supplier learn how they are best to deal with you. So because they got used on working together, things starts becoming much more efficiently at that particular point of time. We start communicating much better together. We know the system, we know the approaches, we know the channels. Communication starts becoming much more better. Innovation starts becoming much better. When I talk about all of this innovation, what do I mean by that? Well, if you're building a partnership, if you know that I am working with these people and I'm building a long-term partnership, if they know you are committed to building that long-term partnership with them, what will happen because of that understanding is you're going to go and find out that both parties will be very committed to investing to further develop that sort of relationship to create much more better outcomes. So if your supplier or your partner find, well, if I go and create find a new, better way that I can actually go and operate, and it's a good work manner and it will benefit my partner, what will happen? They will actually go and start implementing that particular approach. They'll basically recommend it, they'll implement it. And that innovation that your partner goes and actually implement becomes a innovation that you as a company, you are going to actually go and benefit from. How do you benefit from it? Well, your performance is going to improve. New innovation, new ways of working, a lot of times equal. Improved performance, we'll be able to go and reach much better outcomes like we're actually trying to go and deliver. Now, you're going to have to go and deal with so many people. You're going to have to go and create so much negotiation. A lot of time when people go and negotiate together, they negotiate with a view that if I win, they lose. Okay? That's an improper approach to think about negotiation. You cannot think about negotiation in terms of if I win, they are actually going to lose. You're going to try to think about negotiation as a way for us to go and be partners and try to reach an agreement where everybody is going to really benefit from. So what we try to do, we need to try to develop that approach. How can we both win by trying to go and engage in that relationship? Project manager must avoid the they win, I lose on projects because all stakeholders are interrelated. If you're going to make them lose something, they're going to basically go and find that it is not a, you know, they don't want to go and engage with you because you are actually thinking only about what is beneficial to you, not about what is beneficial for everybody. People have different ideas about how to achieve a project objective. So you need to bear that in mind. Because of all of those differences that you need to go and recognize, it's about how do I go and find the best approach for me to go and do things, rather than say, you have to do it my way because that's the actual right way. So there's really not, you know, one best way. There's a way where, the best way is a way where we can actually go and engage together as a group, work well together as a group to be able to go and reach the right outcomes. Often one best way is really surrounded with uncertainty. I might think it's the best way, but the supplier might disagree. They might think, well, it is not they might think that it is not the right way to be able to go and reach the right things. And because of that, they might not be interested to be able to go and get the outcomes to go and be delivered. Now, how do we negotiate? To negotiate well with people, you need to go and understand that everybody is actually on the same group. Okay? There's no my side and your side. There's no me and you. There's basically, we are all on the same side. Everybody is bound by the success of the project. Everyone basically has to continue to work together to be able to go and get the job done. So we need to go and think about how we're going to go and work together to be able to go and reach that outcome. We talk about principled negotiation. You know, how do we do that? Well, separate the people from the problem. If we're negotiating about a problem, about an issue of how do we go and get a job done, that's fine. But it is not about me to start attacking you. You're terrible. You're doing a poor job. It's not about you. It is about solving the problem. We're focusing simply on the problem that is on hand. Focus on the interests. Our both interests are to be able to get this project delivered. Don't focus on your position. It has to be done this way. Start inventing options where you will benefit and they will benefit. Because if you're only going to benefit without them, guess what? They're not going to actually come to the party because they see it as only an opportunity for you to benefit and you're not caring at all about them as another company. When possible, use an objective criteria. If they tell you, no, this is wrong or this is right, well, if they say, no, I performed well, well, use an objective criteria. Show them examples which prove they haven't actually went and worked well the way they are saying they have worked well. So it's really important to really go and use an objective criteria, because when you go and use an objective criteria, no one is able to argue with the point you're trying to make against how they are performing. A lot of time you're going to basically be dealing with unreasonable people. If they push you, don't push back. Ask questions. Do not tell them, I want this. What do you think we should do? That's much better than say, I want you to do this. If they come and tell you something, they want you to do something, and you're not happy with what they have said, okay, use silence. I'm not happy. Use silence. That's your response. If someone tells me something I'm not happy about, I look at them and I'll become silent. And eventually they're going to figure out that because I am silent, that's why they know that I'm not happy with whatever they're saying. And as a result, they basically go and change how they are behaving. Ask for advice and encourage others to criticize your ideas and your positions. Use the Fisher and Ubri's best alternative to a negotiated agreement. The way that it works is, initially you might not have the best alternative. Initially you might have a supplier who is, let's say, having a stronger power against you as a company. So you might accept what they basically say they want to happen, but then eventually what you do, you will actually try to work out with time, try to change the rules of engagement, try to create an approach that basically we're going to go and have a more win-win relationship. They're going to go and actually come together, and we're going to be able to go and reach a more win-win situation. When you try to negotiate, you need to try to get customer satisfaction. If the customers are not satisfied, it's basically have a very negative impact on your reputation as an organization. Now, not every customer is unique. Not every customer accepts the same thing. Not every customer perceives the same thing. So when you're trying to go and judge whether someone is satisfied or not, you're trying to go and make a comparison between the perceived performance and the expected performance. Perceived performance is how do people perceive you have actually performed against a certain criteria. Expected performance is what did they expect you to go and perform. If they perceive that you've actually performed much better than what they are expected, then basically you will be able to go and reach the benefits you would like to go and actually be able to reach it. So project managers must be skilled at managing both customer expectation and perceptions to be able to go and really reach the right outcomes. If we look in this example, if you look at the left, if their perceived performance is 0.9, but the expected performance is 1, they're going to be dissatisfied. But if their perceived performance is they receive 1.1 and the expected performance was 1, this is going to go and result into people being very, very satisfied with what you manage to go and deliver for them at any particular point of time. So it's really about making that evaluation to be able to go and make that judgment. How do you go and deliver clients who are satisfied? A few recommendations. Don't oversell. Better undersell. So instead of telling them, I'm going to go and give you $20,000 base of value, it is best to go and say, well, I'm going to go and give you $10,000 worth of value. And if you end up delivering 20, that's great. You actually undersell, but you delivered more for them. So you're going to go and ensure they are even going to be more happy because you delivered to them much more than they actually are expecting that you are going to be delivering for them at any particular point of time. Develop a well-defined project scope so that everybody understands what we're trying to go and deliver. Share significant problems and significant risks, because that shows that you are actually respecting them and want them to be part of that team. If people need to know how the actual project is progressing, keep them informed about all of these progress. Don't keep them hidden and never know what is happening. Involve customers early in decisions about project development changes. Handle customer relationships and problems in an expeditious, competent, and professional manner. Speak with one voice. That's usually the voice of the project manager or the project team. They basically tell the client what is expected, because if more than one voice, people might be actually promising different things, and that could lead to different customer expectation and to customer dissatisfaction. And speak the language the customer understands. When I talk about speak the language customer understand, what do I mean is don't speak too much technical language and technical jargon that the client is actually not able to go to really understand at all. So it's very, very important that you basically go and make that understanding and make sure you're speaking to the language that everybody basically is happy to go and understand. So as a project manager, you need to play so many various roles. You're going to face so many challenges, and you're going to have so many ways where you are able to go and really solve all of these various challenges. You're going to be an entrepreneur. You're going to be a politician. You're going to be a friend. You're going to be a marketer. You're going to be a coach. You're going to coach all of those people who might not be able to go and do the job. You're going to market the importance of the project for everybody within the organization. You're going to act as a friend for people who are working with your group and they're actually finding some particular issues that they're actually upset about. And because they are actually upset about their, you know, it could be personal problems in their family homes, you come and speak to them to try to go and reach those right outcomes. You're going to need to be a politician, understand the diverse cultures, understand the diverse views, you know, align with the powerful people within the organization, align with all of the individuals, making them see that what you are actually delivering is actually in line with what they're actually expecting at any particular point of time. You need to go and be an entrepreneur. There's going to be always new ways of working, new things we could go and do. So it's about really learning about all of these things. Navigate unfamiliar surroundings. You know, when there's something new, there are going to be a lot of challenges. Use persuasion to influence others, rather than basically say, you have to do it my way, or otherwise I'm going to go and kick you out. So as a manager, you're going to have to go and play so many roles to be able to go and ensure you're going to go and get the project to be delivered. As a manager, you're going to have to go and actually work with so many various contracts. You're going to have to issue contracts and deal with contracts. Now, when you want to go and buy something, there's a process to buy something. You need to first plan what you want to buy. You need to go and plan what you're going to source. You're going to have to plan what sort of contracts you're going to need to go and have in place. You're going to have to then go and ask people, okay, I want to go and have this specific thing. I want you to go and give me a response. Okay, request seller to go and say, this is what I want. I want you to go and look at it and tell me whether you can go and deliver that particular outcome for me. So you basically need to go and create a seller to respond to your request of proposal. A lot of people are going to go and come and tell you what they can actually provide. You're going to have to go and review all of these contracts that they're completed, and based on them, you're going to go and select one person to go and buy the product or the service from. After you choose them and you buy, you basically need to go and actually administer the contract. And finally, after the whole contract has already been completed, what you do, basically you go and close the contract. And basically that means a lot of time, it means that the relationship has ended. But if there's a partnership, it just simply means that one contract is finishing and we're going to wait for the next contract to go and start for our relationship to actually go and continue. So we need formal contracts, things that we are actually signing together, things that basically tells you what you are obligated to do, what I am obligated to do, what do I do for you, what do you do for me. This is really a formal contracting we need to go and try to go and deliver. It's really clear responsibilities. What do you do? What do I do? What are the conditions? What's your right? What's my right? If things don't go according to plan, how are we going to really solve all of these various problems? And when I talk about contracts, sometimes companies use fixed price contract. Let's say, I want you to go and build me software. Look at it, you tell them all the requirements, and they come back and say, all right, I'm going to do that specific project for you, and I'm going to go and make it for a fixed price of, let's say, $1 million. That's fixed price. Some people make it as a cost plus contract. I'm going to make it as, whatever cost plus, let's say, 20% profit. That's what we call a cost plus contract. Let's say cost of labor, material, travel, and so on, plus any extra money that you need to go and pay for me. Whenever we're doing a fixed price, it's actually too much risk for the seller. Whenever we do too much cost plus percentage, it's more risk for the actual buyer. Low risk for the seller, because they will always get their money, and they will always get more money in response to the work that they've done. Sometimes we have incentives. So I'll give you cost plus, and I'll even give you more money if you finish the project early. Sometimes there's a fixed price, but I'll give you an incentive if you actually go and finish it early. But bottom line is, the risk will differ between the buyer and the seller, depending on whether we are going for a fixed price contract or cost plus contract. Ladies and gentlemen, this is basically bringing us towards the end of what we're trying to go and do today. Do you have any questions? Anybody have any questions on this? Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please review the lecture slides, tutorial materials, and the notes you've taken. Please read chapters 11 and 12. And continue working on your assessments, especially the group assessment that is basically due on Sunday. So I want to hopefully be able to go and see a very, very good outcome to go and be produced by you guys, so that we're going to be able to go and reach the right goals that we would like to go and actually reach. As always, I want to remind you that I really care so much about you, and I really appreciate all your effort and all your hard work. I want to encourage you to continue working hard, not simply in my subject, in everything you go and do, to be able to go and really reach the right outcomes and right goals. Thank you very much for all your hard work.